Oil imports will have a big impact on prices here in the United States. With us right now to talk more about it is Chris Ball, the director of the Central European Institute at Quinnipiac University. Chris, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
It's interesting, we talk about gas prices, and I completely get it. Nobody wants to pay more. It's terrible when you see what's happening with the prices rise so quickly. But at the same time, we're looking at what's happening as people are right now fleeing a country. Women are being separated from their husbands and they have their children. So, we want to keep that in perspective while we discuss this, because it just seems like the world's falling apart in this moment. So I think right now, when we look at gas prices, do you anticipate them going up even more? $1 perhaps, more than that?
Yeah, I do. I think probably $1 is in Connecticut is a fair expectation. So I just came today from teaching. I'm an economics professor here, and we've been looking at inflation, which has already been high in the U.S. And then you add to this the pressure coming from pulling back our supply or our purchases of their oil, and it's going to drive oil prices higher. And that will definitely feed into gas prices in the U.S.
So I think we reported a few minutes ago here that we're only a few cents away from the record in Connecticut right now for the average price per gallon. So if you add almost 90 plus cents to that, I mean, we're talking about definitely over $5 a gallon. So I can see how this would certainly have an impact on what people do, especially as spring approaches, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a couple of effects kicking in right now. One is just the higher price of gas. I totally expect it to go up by about $1. So, as you said, that means we're $5 to $6 on average in Connecticut. Well, I don't know what the latest is, maybe $4.20.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, that's hitting as everybody's trying to finally get back to work after COVID and starting to return in person, and mask mandates are dropping. And so you're starting to use your cars more. So demand was already rising. This is really the worst possible timing. Like everyone else, I totally support it for all the reasons laid out this afternoon, but it will definitely have an impact. And as the rest of Europe tries to do the same, it'll have an even bigger impact on world oil prices, and that'll feed over into gas prices.
Is it instant, Chris? Like, so we say today we're stopping this. How soon does the flow of oil from Russia stop coming into the United States?
That's the market effect is pretty instantaneous. Basically, markets will respond immediately to the news, and then they'll respond to how long they think that news will be in effect. So if they think it's going to be short-lived, it'll be less of a market response. And if they think this is going to be many months of a restriction in oil, it can be a higher price increase. Now, the oil itself, as far as I know, oil tankers have already stopped bringing oil from Russia. And people I've actually talked to by chance in the business of oil transportation have said they've already quit picking up. The shipments that were on their way to Russia, they already had stopped. In some cases, just out of personal moral commitment, they quit going to Russia already earlier this week. So I think the effect is an immediate cutoff. What that means if there's a tanker unloading Russian oil today, probably they finished doing that, and we probably use that down. But I think all new shipments are stopped.
Before we let you go, Chris, I guess what would your advice be for people? Obviously, as summer gets closer, those kinds of prices are going to keep people home. Do you think that if the war stops, if things hopefully improve, this would then improve?
Yeah, absolutely. If the war stops, this will definitely start to improve. Again, it's how long this bad situation will last. But I think those will be some of the first negotiations coming out of the war. How do we resume regular purchases of oil and a regular flow? What can people do? We're all in the same boat. I mean, you try and carpool, you try and economize. Historically, if gas prices remain high, people start to buy smaller, more fuel efficient cars. We think that's a good thing, but hopefully it doesn't last that long. So in the meantime, it's about planning your trips, carpooling where you can, and just trying to be smarter about how you drive.
Chris Ball from Quinnipiac University, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Again, we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.